this is my very own Citroen C4 VTS 180, a car I feel was very undervalued when new and still is even now, and I'm going to tell you why. The VTS badge was made famous by cars like the Saxo VTS, but the C4 was actually the last car to wear the once esteemed badge. The C4 was a massive step over the Zara. I've owned a Zara, and it really did reignite Citroen's quirkiness, thirst for technology and innovation, and it really is a great car. The VTS was actually the flagship of the C4 Coupe range, and is more of a warm hatch. It hasn't really got the all-out performance or upgrades of a hot hatch, but that doesn't mean it's any less special. I'm going to start with the looks of the car. So starting at the front, you've got the famous double chevron logo. It's been made into a design feature and high sort of grille between the two lines. You've got these big swept-back headlights, a bit like the BMW 5 Series, and you've got directional xenon headlights, which is a great nod to the Citroen DS, and they move with the steering. You can also turn them on with the keys, which is actually pretty handy for finding your car. The VTS, the only difference really is sort of a deeper front bumper extension, so it's pretty subtle overall. I love how daring the Citroen C4 was and the coupe design was. Despite the front end being quite long, it's got quite a long overhang and it's got quite a cab forward design, and the doors actually cuts into the wheel arch. That's how far back the wheel was. You've got these really nice flag mounted wing mirrors with the side repeater on the side, and then it really does deserve its coupe name here. The roofline drops down, but to give good headroom in the back and not compromise its sort of family focus, instead of bringing the roofline all the way down and compromising headroom too much, the back end of the car sort of comes up and meets the roof, so you get this sort of really unique silhouette of the car. What that results in is this two-piece tailgate. So the glass comes right into the roof, all the way up to here. It makes it a rather heavy boot lid, and the top piece of glass doesn't actually give you much visibility. But it does give you this fantastic arch and this window line. Again, VTS badging is on the side, subtle modifications, and you do get full colour coding. So these bits here are normally plastic, they're colour coded, and in this case my car is Oriental Blue, which is not a common colour. The back end really is fantastic. You've got these sort of high set tail lights, which are actually pretty low down because the roof comes down to meet them. You've got sort of a strange sort of green tint, which is actually pretty unusual. The whole rear glass is tinted, and you've got this hooped spoiler, which is unique to the VTS petrol model. The VTS diesel model didn't get them, but the Loeb did, but in red. My car is actually a pre-facelift model, so that gets the full 180 horsepower from the 2-litre naturally aspirated engine that was shared with the Peugeot 206 180 and the Peugeot 307 Feline. The facelifted car got a 1.6 turbo with 150 horsepower, so this is the most powerful Citroen C4 made. You get an exposed exhaust tip around the back as well. The VTS petrol and low positions were the only cars to have this. My car actually has a stainless steel exhaust system on it. The replacement exhausts are actually quite hard to find for this. You normally get a very nice sort of trapezoidal exhaust finisher, but unfortunately my car doesn't have that. What it does have is a bit more noise, and paired with the induction kit that's under the bonnet that was fitted by the previous owner, it does add to the experience of the car and gives it a bit more perceived performance. Unfortunately my car's been debadged around the back as well. The Citroen and the C4 logo has been removed, and the Citroen logo itself has been updated to the latest generation design. But overall, the car is just fantastic. I particularly love this sort of double layer spoiler that you have. So you have the conventional lift, which is on all the C4 coupes, and then you have this hoop spoiler as well in gun metal grey. If I open the tailgate, you'll see how far it cuts into the roof. It's pretty heavy with a lot of glass, despite this panel being plastic, and you get a pretty big boot. And the tailgate opens quite high. But what is fantastic is this fold-out divide. It's so clever. It hides away in the trim here when you're not using it, and every car should have it. It's absolutely brilliant. It stops you shopping flying around everywhere. It really is a really clever design. The VTS also is pretty high spec, so it has rear parking sensors. My car also has optional front parking sensors, and it is a very, very well spec car. So here we are inside my C4 VTS. It is a fantastic place to be. As you get into the car, you're welcomed by these very nice pressed Citroen tread plates and the puddle light in the bottom of the door that illuminates the floor. You've got this fantastic feature here that holds your seatbelt, which is actually part of the seat fold mechanism. It sticks out and it just holds your seatbelt in place, which I think is really nice. You've got these really big figure hugging seats with this airbag built in. It's got 6 airbags, this car, and these are specific to the VTS model. They really hold you in place. They're part leather, part sort of Alcantara, and they've also got this weird centre section, a bit like a taxi from the 80s with their beaded section. You've got this fantastic wraparound dash that starts from the door and works all the way around the whole dashboard. With the steering wheel, the hub itself is fixed in place and the rim moves around it. Initially it's a strange sensation, but really it's fantastic. It means that you can access all of these buttons really easily no matter where the steering wheel is, and you have a larger directional airbag as well. Then you have things like the headlight and indicator logos located on the hub as well. You've then got the rev counter right in front of you, which I think sort of gives you that impression of performance, because in performance cars you have the rev counter directly in front of you. It has Citroen marked on it, and it flashes red as well when you hit the rev limiter, which is just fantastic. You then have this central display, which is has your speedo and your fuel information, and with a nice little nod there of the silhouette of the C4 as well. And it's actually translucent, so I don't know how it works, but regardless of the glare or the light, you can always see it. It's so clear. It's just, again, another fantastic example of Citroen's innovation. My car actually has the optional Navidrive system, which is this screen here. It's not touchscreen, but it does offer phone through a SIM card, not Bluetooth. It offers satellite navigation, which is actually pretty good. And the graphics are really good as well. I think for a 15-year-old car, it's a really good system. It really is. The materials in here are really nice as well. This zebra print material is actually padded and is on the doors. You've got this sort of brushed aluminium effect material of the VTS model around here as well, and down by the gear knob. And you get some chrome flashes everywhere as well, on the doors, on these little pop-out trays here, and on the vents. I think it's a really sort of premium feeling place to be. It's very well equipped in here, as well as the Navidrive system. You've got dual zone climate control. I've got a auto changer, which is located in the armrest, which is a nice nod to the Citroen CX. I've got automatic lights, I've got automatic wipers, I've got power folding mirrors, I've got auto dimming rear mirror. It's just so well equipped. It really is a flagship premium model. It's got so many toys, and I think that's really in keeping with Citroen's innovation and technology theme that the brand sort of is based on. There's so many places to put things in this car. They're absolutely everywhere. You've got sort of double door pockets here. You've got a little cubby in the door. You've got these fold out trays, which are actually sort of felt lined, which is really nice touch. You've got this area here down by the steering wheel. You've got these really odd slots here, which I have no idea what you'd use them for. You've got an ashtray here, you've got a pen holder under the armrest, a cup holder down by the handbrake, you've got a tray under the passenger seat, you've got a glove box, which is a bit small because on right and drive French cars they tend to have the fuse box there, but it is cooled. It does direct the air conditioning in there, and it's got some nice sort of sponge lining as well. Really nice touch. There's so many places to put things. I guess it's up to you to figure out what you put in them, because for most of them I have no idea. The gear knob is from a Citroen DS3. It's not actually from a C4 VTS. It should be a silver gear knob, but it is nice to hold and use. And I've got voice control in here and cruise control. The voice control, it's an old system, but it does work well. It is really quite good. And this Navidrive system is really good as well. You can operate it through the buttons on the steering wheel, and you can turn on all sorts of systems. It's really nicely integrated. The steering wheel itself with all its buttons, so this is for the audio controls, this is for the Navidrive menu system. You've got the cruise control up here, and then you've got some shortcut buttons here. So you've got a phone, your voice control, This actually does the recirculation for the air conditioning, which is a bit strange. And this button here is actually configurable. I use it to go into night mode. So it turns all the screens off and the information on the main display, and it just leaves you with the speed, which is a bit like a SAR, but it turns off everything. There's four displays in here. So I think all that's left to do is take you out on the road and let you know what it's like to drive. So here we are out on the road in the C4, and what hits you initially is that maybe it doesn't actually feel as quick as you think it should do. It's got 180 horsepower and a car weighing 1,340 kilos, so it is quite a heavy car. And when the VTS arrived, the hot hatch game was moving on. The Mark 5 GTI arrived with around 200 horsepower. The ST170 Focus was replaced by the ST with 225 horsepower. These cars were 7 seconds and under to 60. This is 8 seconds, so it doesn't feel initially that quick. But there is performance to be had. You just have to work to get it. When you get the car over around 4,200 RPM, the variable valve timing kicks in, and the engine comes alive all the way up to the 7,200 RPM rev limit. And it's a hard limiter. It bounces off that limiter, and the rev counter flashes red. Then it comes alive, this car. It really does. And paired with the steering, which is actually pretty quick, pretty precise. There's no play in the dead ahead. It is an enjoyable car to drive. But extracting all that performance does highlight my first gripe with the driving experience. That is the gearbox and the clutch combination. The gearbox itself isn't too bad. It's a 5-speed manual. The throw is quite long. It's a bit notchy, but it's not too bad. It is very short geared, this car. It's pulling around 3,800 RPM on the motorway at 70 miles an hour, so the engine never really relaxes. But my biggest problem is the clutch. The travel of the pedal is pretty long, it's pretty vague, it's pretty spongy, it's quite hard to judge where the clutch bar is. It makes fast, smooth gear changes pretty difficult. And this car's got a new clutch disc in it, it's got a new pressure plate, a new slade cylinder, so this is probably as good as it will get. The brakes are actually pretty good. They're bigger on the VTS on the front, and the ESP can be turned off fully as well on the VTS model, which is nice that they've done that, so no electronic intervention. I've taken this car around Blyton Park. It was actually quite a lot of fun, but it did highlight one of its biggest problems with the driving dynamics, and that is roll. The suspension's pretty soft. The ride's not too bad. The secondary ride's a bit busy. I don't think it's that different over a standard C4. But what that does mean is under hard braking, it dies onto the front during fast cornering. It dies onto the front outer wheel. And I think that's exaggerated by the fact that actually it grips really hard. It resists understeer really well. And paired with the light rear end, because this has got a 63% front weight distribution, and the primitive rear suspension, because it's got a torsion beam, it's actually pretty playful. You can feel the back end sort of scrabbling around, you can adjust it with the throttle. It feels like a proper little hot hatch to drive. It reminds me of my old Golf GTI, my Mark II. It feels like you've got to work hard to get the performance out of it, but it really rewards you. You feel really immersed in the experience. I actually love driving this car, I really do. I think it's got the right amount of performance. I love that it's naturally aspirated. It's got a lovely linear power delivery. You've got to keep it high up in the rev range, but that's what I think you have to do with a performance car. You've got to really work it. And this car's got nearly 100,000 miles on it, and I do drive it. Well, you have to drive it reasonably hard to get anywhere, otherwise it does feel sluggish. But it's stood up to time really well. It's been pretty reliable for me, which contradicts the reputation of Citroen. There's a few electronic issues that I'm working through, and the fuse box did go wrong on me, which is quite an expensive job. But apart from that, in the last 3 years, it's been pretty good to me. I love some of the smaller premium touches that you really notice when you live with the car. It's got blue tinted rear mirror, side mirrors, so that reduces glare of headlights for cars behind you. The windscreen's got a purpley tint to it, so that's anti-glare as well. The windows are one touch up and down on both doors, which you get in so many cars, and they're either just one touch down, one touch up, and just on the driver's door, and that's really annoying. And the one touch wiper swipe as well, if you just want to clear the windscreen. It's just little touches like that. It just feels polished. It feels like the people that made it cared. I love this armrest as well. It just seems to be in the right place. It sort of arches down towards the gear lever, so you can rest on it when you're changing gear. If you do push it back, it won't stay there for long, because as soon as you brake, it just slides back. I guess maybe the runners are worn, or maybe it's just a design flaw. But yeah, it's a really nice car to drive, and it's not just that, it's safe as well. When this car came out, it had a 5-star NCAP rating, which was still pretty novel in the C segment. Citroen's commitment to safety, it wasn't just through passive safety. This car has lane departure warning system fitted to it, which was a very new technology back when this car launched. Citroen was really market leading with it. Whereas modern cars now use the radars and the cameras in the front of the car to project when the car's gone over the line and gives it an audible or visual warning. This uses 6 infrared sensors in the under tray. And then when you go over a white line without indicating, it vibrates the side of the seat depending on what line you've gone over. So if you've gone over the right hand lane, it'll vibrate the right hand seat. It must have been incredibly complex and expensive technology to develop. I think it's really clever. Maybe it's over the top, and it was perhaps unnecessary. There was no external pressures really to fit this technology to cars back then. And the customer, when you paid the option to fit it to their car, I leave it on. I think it's a really good technology. I think it works pretty well. I feel like it's my right to leave it on. Citroen's gone to all that effort to develop it. It does pick up on the arrows and the slow text in the middle of the lane, so if you do go over that, it will vibrate the seat. So at times it can be a little annoying, but because it's not a visual or an audible beep, it's just a gentle vibration of the seat, you sort of don't mind it, and you sort of respond to it more naturally. You're not looking for what it's trying to tell you is wrong. I think it's great. And then you've got things like the directional headlights, like the Citroen DS. They move with the steering, but they're not mechanically linked, they're electronic, so when you're stationary, they point straight ahead, and as soon as you set off, regardless of where the wheels are pointing, as soon as you set off, and they start to move with the steering. They work really well. Again, it's probably a bit over-engineered and a bit unnecessary for the benefit it really gives you, but I love that commitment to safety and that commitment to technology. I think it's really fantastic. It's reassuring, and I think ultimately this is a great mix of attributes for a Citroen performance model. I don't think they need all-out performance. You know, although Citroen was in the WRC where this car did remarkably well, Citroen isn't known for crazy fast cars, and I think it's a great mix of premiumness, luxury, comfort, good driving dynamics, and enough performance to enjoy that as well. It's sort of got that sort of French hatch character to it, where it is quite playful and adjustable. I think it's a really, really good car. I think it is definitely underappreciated. So hopefully now you can see just why I love this car so much. I really can't see myself being without it. I think it's a fantastic mix of toys, luxury. It really does feel like a premium car inside. And I think the VTS trim level, with its added performance and its chassis revisions, really make this car feel alive and really do give you that great mix of performance that you can use on the roads. It's usable performance. You really have to try and extract it from the car. I absolutely adore it. I think it looks fantastic. I think the attention to detail and the quality and the features they managed to do in 2005 for the price of the Focus was just absolutely amazing. So hopefully now you can see just why I love this car so much too, and subscribe to my channel for further videos on any future cars that I buy or any future cars I get to drive. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
You can follow me on Instagram at carmanick to follow my other car escapades, or subscribe to my YouTube channel for any future videos. I've also teamed up with Manic Auto Art as part of this video to commission a C4 VTS inspired design. You can follow them on Instagram and Facebook at Manic Auto Art, or check out their Redbubble shop, Manic 2019, where you can buy this design on a plethora of products or check out their other car inspired designs. They do some great work, so check them out.